I'm saying is I hate you right now.
Thanks for putting yourself live just before saying that too.
Yeah, I just figured. Yeah, I figured the audience would find that interesting because all the infighting is going on.
The
No,
first thing that's going to be on the show, Chris, I hate you.
Chris, I hate you. Hey guys, welcome to Podnutz live call-in show, episode number 100. We'll be starting here shortly.
Video.
This
You guys
is
are
our
like
pre-show
right now.
Okay. Hey, David. Oh, we just lost David? All right, cool. So, anyways, I do apologize. We're going through some technical difficulties. My internet connection, as a lot of you may or may not know, has been spotty for the last 4 weeks. We're doing some extensive testing on it to try to figure out what the problem is, and hopefully this problem will go away soon. I supposedly have a stable internet connection, but we'll see. Okay. So, let me do this.
And in a twist of events, my internet's fine.
Yes.
I'm not on location. I'm not anywhere. I'm not mobile. I am in my office with my nice working internet.
That is cool. Okay.
Breathe out here.
Hey, David, I was gonna say you might maybe if you're on your mobile device, right? David.
He was on his mobile device.
I heard bits and pieces of that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm on my mobile device. Yeah.
Okay, you're not doing video right now.
No.
Okay.
I'm special like that.
Gotcha. Google break something. Surely your chest.
It keeps shutting down on me. Yeah. It's like.
Yeah, don't worry about your video. We'll just as long as we can get your voice. I mean, that'll be the most important thing.
Okay. Thank God. You guys might hear some chickens though.
That's fine. I love the out. Hey, my window's wide open right now. It's a beautiful day outside. Okay, I need to add something. Assign jingle to button. Let me see if I can do this. And
No.
do this.
There we go.
And we're gonna go to the desktop. Oh, I really hate Windows sometimes. Podnutz. Okay. All right, hopefully that'll work. I should have a couple different ways to play that. If not, then so be it. And let me close this back out. There we go. Okay, gentlemen. David, can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine finally.
Chris, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're still there.
Okay, I can hear both of you. That's
Perfect.
a good sign. All right.
Cool.
And now we're done touching.
This is this is the You Broke It show, right?
Yeah.
You busted it. All right, so here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to start the show now.
What is going on?
I don't hear it.
I don't either. This is great.
Where's the jingle?
You guys can't hear that?
No.
I can't hear squat.
Oh, no.
Well, you can hear me
God.
at least.
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Sing the jingle, Jeff.
You want to try that again? You want to see if you can hear it? Can you hear it?
No, you're going to have to sing it.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yeah. That's why I said sing it.
Gotcha. All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to Podnutz Computer Repair Podcast, episode number 100. I'm Jeff Halash. This is our live call-in show for computer repair techs. Call-in number is 1-888-697-0162. Let me introduce you guys to the co-hosts. We have Chris Carruthers from Remote Support Tech Team. How you doing, Chris?
Not bad, Jeff. How are you?
I'm doing awesome.
Good.
And I'm lying like a big dog. But anyways, good to have you on the show, man. Appreciate you coming out.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. Hey, and also we also have on the show today, we have David Flores from ARAWRPC.com. Did I say it right, David?
Oh, kind of. I don't really care right now. It's cold out here, man. I'm in that northern location, man. You sent me out this remote location, dude. It's not cool. Oh.
Well, you sound good. So you're outside your house right now?
Around me of wilderness, man.
Okay. Unfortunately, David was having some. I guess there's some fiber crews up there working right now in the upper north, and so he might come in and out, but we'll bear with it and do the best we can, and hopefully we'll be able to get these. Hopefully we'll be able to play this voicemail and stuff like that. Anyways, I think. Actually, let's go ahead and I think we'll start off this week, and we do have one voicemail. I'm going to see if it's going to play. If it doesn't play where you guys can't hear it, then we'll probably have to play it for next week because I had to do some. I keep losing some connection on my one sound card for some reason. So, but let me go ahead and play this voicemail, and we'll see if we can get through it. And you guys just let me know right away if you can hear it or not.
Nope.
No, nothing.
Nope.
All right. We will have to bring that next week. I don't know why it's not coming through on the video. It's actually coming through on the recording. So we're not sure what's going on there, but we definitely will get to that. It was a very good long voicemail and had a lot of good information. So we'll get that in the next show. I think one of the things we're going to talk about this week is what do you do in your business when you're slow? And we're all well. I don't know. Myself and Chris are feeling the slowness this week for some reason. I've had a lot of customers that have clicked on my website, but nobody's calling. So it could just be seasonal. It could be whatever. But I think what we're going to do is just talk about some of the things you can do during the slow times. If you have those. If you don't, hey, more power to you. That's good stuff. So, Chris, what did you? What are some of the things you're doing during your slow time right now?
Paperwork, mostly. Catching up. You got to do them sometime, right? So, reports. I'm analyzing the different services that we're offering, trying to figure out what the profit margins are, and where I need to start pushing my marketing. Right, because you want to market the right services, so you need to know what's selling well, what's making you the most money per minute that you're working. So that's what I've pretty much spent this week doing.
Wow. So how's that going for you? Are you learning something from that process?
I solidified what I already thought without really getting all the numbers. But that's important, right? Because you could think that virus removals are making you the most money, but then when you really come down to it, you'll find out it's something else.
Right.
It's important to know where your business is going, and if business is slow, you may as well figure out exactly where you are and what you need to push out to your customers.
Sounds good. And how about you, David? What do you do during these during slow times? And I don't see him there.
See, this is exactly what he does during slow times. Nothing.
He takes a break.
That's right.
Awesome. Well, some of the things that, paperwork is definitely important to catch up on. I know as a business owner, I try to keep up on my paperwork on a regular basis, but, man, there are times when I go back through my paperwork and I go, I missed this, I missed that, I forgot I bought this, and I never put it down in my tax paperwork. Those types of things that I try to. So a lot of times during the slow times, I'll go through that stuff and just double check what I'm doing on a regular basis, because it doesn't take long, but getting behind by even a few weeks will definitely throw you off, and especially if you start to get busy and you haven't caught up on your paperwork, man. That'll really it makes me nuts. Anyways, that's
yeah.
I don't like being overtasked like that, I guess. So that, and one of the other things I think I try to do is marketing, sending out either blast emails, letting customers know of any, maybe discounts and different things that are going on, or even just new services that I might offer that people might be interested in. And, that always, a lot of people might say, well, that doesn't get me a whole lot of, customers coming back for a product or so, but a lot of times it really does. You'll get maybe one or two out of a blast that you send to maybe 300 customers, but it seems to keep trickling, and basically it keeps it. I don't know. It just keeps the flow going. So that's in my business. Anyways, that's what I've seen.
No, it makes perfect sense. I mean, we're both in very different markets, right? Like I'm marketing to computer techs and to business owners, whereas you're mostly marketing to residential. So it's
Right.
two very, very different focuses. I mean, one big thing that we're working on right now is I am already a QuickBooks Pro Advisor for Canada. I'm working on my U.S. QuickBooks Pro Advisor certification so that we can start offering that as a premium service. Which I mean, will be huge for a lot of the market research that I've done so far with my clients that I know have business clients have shown that this is something that people need, right? So if I didn't have this week, I wouldn't have been able to catch up on that either. So it's all but I mean, I can see the draw to take time off. I can see the draw to just not do something, and really, I've gotten my business to the point where that's pretty much a Sunday for me. Right, Sundays I don't do a whole lot because you have to. But if you have a slow week and all you do is sit down and play video games or go somewhere else and not pay attention to your business, you're losing a lot of valuable time that could be used to help yourself grow so you can push through those slow times. So I'm sure that there are people out there that when they have a slow week, it's almost a make or break for their business when they have a slow week like that.
Right. No, that's there's a lot of truth to that. It's video games. I'm not sure what those are anymore because I don't even think I have any on my. Well, I did put 2 on my system the other day. Actually, I think I have 3 video games that I downloaded. And I turned them on to see if they would work, and they work, and I haven't played them yet. So this spare time that you talk of, I know nothing about it at this point. It seems like I'm constantly busy doing something, whether it is trying to increase my business, working on certain things, in my business, whether it be marketing or even just even some slow fixes and stuff that I have with some situations I'm dealing with. The last 3 to 4 weeks for me has been trying to figure out why my internet has been so bad and why I keep dropping, sync and basically losing connection, connecting back, losing connection, connecting back, and then sometimes it'll work just fine for a long period of time, and then it drops out on a moment's notice. So those are some of the things that I've been working on because that really has put a monkey wrench in my business per se. I can't really, you're trying to do updates on computers and different things, and it's tough. So
yeah, oh for sure. And I mean, the problem with what you're talking about, where you're saying like I'm constantly busy, I don't even know what a video game is anymore. Video games isn't everybody's thing. I'm going to be the first person to say that. That is my de-stressor, right? If I'm blowing something up, it takes a lot of stress off of me, but it doesn't make me an arsonist. But
I was going to say, okay, and
I saw the look on your face.
Thank you.
But I mean, there are other things. Like there are people who really enjoy knitting or crocheting. There are people who do sports, right? And so what's really important is that yes, you do need to have that thing that you do. You need to have something that you take time away from work, away from the business, to keep yourself sane. Because if you just work 24/7 and that's all you do, why?
Right.
Why are you doing that to yourself? All you're going to do is burn out, and you're going to lose why you're working in the first place. Making that money means absolutely nothing if you can't enjoy it.
Well, and I think we've talked about this in previous podcasts about pricing and different things like that. And what I see from a lot of techs, and I throw myself in there too. I mean, I have a full-time job. I do a couple different shows, and I work on computers in my own business. And I just I almost feel like a hamster in a wheel. I'm just running round and round and round and round. And in my mind, I keep telling myself that, okay, but once I get everything set up just right and I have all my processes in place, or process, as you would say.
Thank you.
No problem. I want to, I want to be culturally diverse. Anyways, so that's one of those things where I go, man, I know that I need to take that de-stress time and go play me some Battlefield 4. I mean, there's nothing better than a 1,000-yard headshot.
Right.
Make you feel good. But anyways, that's one of the things that I enjoy to do. And you really have to take the time to do that. Now I do watch some shows and stuff like that when I'm kind of just late at night and I have, my internet's working, all that works fine. But yeah, you definitely got to take time for yourself. It's tough because I see a lot of techs out there that they're running around like chickens with their heads cut off, and basically they're not really getting anywhere. It's kind of like they're maintaining and they're able to do what they do, and they're making enough money that they can survive, but I don't know that should be anybody's end game when it comes to owning your own computer repair business. I know it's not mine, because if that was my end game, just to maintain and just to make a living, I'd have quit a long time ago. There's just no point. I can go do 100 different other things that I actually enjoy doing instead of taking my time to do this. But I have an end game in mind where I want to take myself and get to that next level, grow my business so that I have something that's generating income on a regular monthly basis, where I'm not having to basically poke a stick at it all the time. It just kind of it's the momentum just kind of keeps going, and it goes itself, and you keep putting new processes and different things in place, but it makes it where it's I don't know, not just fun, but it makes it where it works for itself. And we all gotta go to the grinding stone and work that business in what we do. I don't want to do that forever, though. I want it to be,
But you're never going to be able to put the stick down unless you're giving somebody else the stick, right? Because a business cannot be self-propelling. It can't.
Right.
SEO changes the way that it works. Marketing changes the way that it works.
Yep.
If you've got the same commercial running on the same TV station that's been running since the 80s, it's not really generating a whole lot for you anymore. You need to pick up that stick and give it a good hit.
Right.
All right, so I mean, you can't do that, and that's a big thing that you can do during those slow times. Take a look at your marketing, take a look at your numbers, and figure out, okay, listen, this is working, this isn't. Let's change the things that aren't. But I mean, and I can't stress this enough. Everybody has their right time to leave their full-time job. Everybody has their right time to say, look, I'm not going to do both anymore. I'm going to go to the business.
Right.
But the problem that I find is that a lot of techs want to wait until their business is generating as much income as their full-time job before they leave. And the truth of the matter is, unless you're going to hire somebody to work that business for you while you're at your full-time job, you can't do that. You need an employee, you need somebody, you need something being done. Because I never, ever would have been able to bring my business to where I was getting paid at the car plant when I was doing the IT there. It just wasn't going to happen.
Right.
Because you can't put enough hours into a part-time gig to make up for a full-time job unless you're making minimum wage.
It's a good point.
Okay. So, don't sit back and say, okay, well, my goal, I make this much money a year, so I need to make this much money a year on the business, and when I get there, that's when I'm going to leave. That's not a realistic goal. So take some of your downtime, figure out what your goals are, and say, okay, look, this is how much money I need to grow the business. Let's add 10% to that. I need this much money to make sure my rent, food, and bills are paid. Let's add 10% to that. That's how much money I want to be making before I make my business a full-time. That might not even be an achievable goal for everybody. It depends, but that's where I was looking at.
Right. No, that's a good point.
And something with owning a business, too. I mean, you got to make sure that you're always trying to strive for better success, too. I mean, you might have to eat kind of the empty cookie jar for a while before you actually make the money, I mean, that's the downside about business, too. There's that putting your nose to the grindstone kind of theory, but make as much money as you would at a normal time job and say, okay, how much can I afford to lose before I actually start making that money back? You know, that's a lot of things that people forget about doing businesses too. Is, you know, there is that period of loss, and you have to be through that point. And if you can make it through that point, you're going to be successful, at least in that mind.
Oh, for sure, and I mean the 6-month rule applies to that very easily. Everybody says, hey, you know, before you open up a shop, make sure you have 6 months worth of expenses saved up. I mean, even if you're not going to have a shop, you can do the exact same thing because, hey, right now you have a full-time job. Right now you have stable income, and anything that you're doing in your business is extra income, and that's fantastic. Take whatever money you can that you're comfortable with. You still have to have your recreation. That's why I always say add the plus 10%. You need to have your recreation. You need to have your de-stressors. If you don't, your business is going to fail. The majority of businesses don't fail within 2 years because they're not a good business owner. They fail because the business owner can't make it anymore or they run out of money.
Right. That's a good point.
So start up a savings account, get 6 months worth of your business expenses and personal expenses saved up. Then make your goals. Then, you know, anybody can succeed. Anybody can. And I'm really tired of seeing like the technical posts of, hey guys, I made a good run of it. Sorry, I got to go. You know, these things don't need to happen. The market isn't so saturated that you can't have IT people succeed in business.
Right.
You need a plan, and that's it. You need a plan, you need to market, you need to get out there.
Well, and I think a lot of that. So in talking about planning, a lot of us, how many of us actually set up a goal structure? You know, we have our short-term, long-term, or short-term, medium-term, long-term goals. You know, I mean, I know I should have those things in place, but I don't necessarily always put those down on paper. And you know, we try to be fancy with a lot of times the way that we do things, whether we do it electronically. But the reality is, you can grab a piece of paper and go, okay, what is my short-term goal? You know, how much money do I want to make over the next, you know, month? How much money do I want to make over the next 6 months? How much money do I want to make 2 years from now? And I think when you set those goals up for yourself, it gives you something to strive for. And not to sound like a business book or anything, but these things are important for yourself mentally. Mm-hmm. And whether we understand how it works or not doesn't matter. All I can tell you is from past experience, it does work that way. You have to program your mind a certain way to, you know, move forward and have that next. Okay, what am I really going for? You know, a golfer, the person who wants to golf and become a professional golfer, they're going to basically go out there and they go, okay, in order to become a great golfer, what do I need to do? Okay, I need to hit about 1,000 balls from the driving range a day. I need to do about. David, are you moving around?
Yeah, I'm walking on the road. It's the only place I get reception. I'm a sad panda today.
But you know, the other thing is, you know, I'm going to play, you know, 36 holes of golf every day, and you know, they have a goal in mind to be a professional golfer. And they've set up what they need to do on a regular basis so that they can become a professional golfer. You're not going to be a professional golfer by going and golfing once or twice a week. It's not going to happen.
No, that's right too.
You know?
And you can't. And Corey makes a good point too. You can't just set those goals and then walk away from them. You know, these goals are not meant to be a static thing that you set at the beginning of your business, and then when you get to the end of it, that's it. You've made it. Right?
Goals should always be changing.
Exactly.
Always.
Your long-term goal shouldn't change very often because your long-term goal is what you're reaching for. It's your stretch goal, right? But your mid-range goal, I've been finding that my mid-range goal has been changing every 6 months.
Okay.
My short-term goal has changed every month or two, right? Because your business is constantly evolving. When I started, I didn't think that I'd be where I am now in a year.
Right.
I had no idea that I was going to be here. But that's the whole point. Okay, so I got here within a year. Holy crap, that was my midterm. So now I have to change my mid. I have to make that something that's a little bit more out of reach, so I have to go for it and set my short-term goals to bring me towards that step.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So, you know, keep yourself motivated, keep that carrot dangling, because as soon as you start eating that carrot, you're going to sit down.
And, you know, one of the things, so what are people doing, you know, we're talking about some good things here, business plans and whatnot. What are some things that people are doing in the computer repair field that, you know, as far as marketing? What types of things you know, I know during the summertime I went, or actually I didn't, my wife and my kids went out and they put flyers in mailboxes, not in them, but outside of them, because in them would be illegal. But, they put them, I can't remember how many it was. It was like maybe 3,000, and it was just in the local neighborhoods around the area, close to my house and everything, because that's where my business is based. But what other types of things are people doing out there to market themselves? We'd be interested to hear from you guys, and also hear, if you want to send in a voicemail or email, we'll obviously get those things fixed where we can, read them and play them. Reading wouldn't be a problem, but playing them for some reason is off a little bit. Anyways, so I'm really curious about what people do for themselves. And Chris, back when you were doing running your computer repair business, what types of things did you do for marketing to market yourself in your area?
Website. The website was the single biggest thing. Nobody lived like. I'm not saying that there aren't areas that the yellow pages and phone books and flyers are important, because there are places with older people that actually read that stuff. But you really have to get your web presence down. As soon as you get your web presence down, you're going to start getting a lot more traffic. You're going to get your name exposed to a lot further out. I would like to know. I'm going to look that up later, why it's illegal for you to put things in people's mailboxes, but I guess that's going to be for another time.
Basically, you can't. It's just like opening somebody else's mail. You can't go actually inside the mailbox. In order for something to go to a mailbox, it has to be post-paid. So without postage on there, it's a federal law that you're breaking.
That's nuts.
Welcome to America.
Yeah, well, you guys have fun with that. But and really, if you're just trying to get some blitz marketing out, that's different from your long-term marketing, right? Yeah. Long-term marketing is going to be your website, radio spots, which are actually pretty effective. TV spots, if you have a physical shop that you want to send people to, that's great. But network marketing wound up being a huge thing. I joined the Chamber of Commerce here in Barrie, and I met a lot of business owners through the Chamber of Commerce, which led to a lot of different contracts. Anytime I was putting down a large amount of money on something, like getting my car fixed, I'd very slyly move into a sales pitch without them really realizing what I'm doing, and then I wind up with the mechanic shop as a client of mine.
Right.
So you need to take all of these different avenues on it, and once you've got yourself established, once you know that, yes, this marketing is down pat, yes, these things are great, you're going to need to improve them, but then you can say, okay, now what am I going to do? Okay, I'm going to do a virus removal blitz. Awesome. So I'm going to call up a pizza company, and I'm going to call up the mail company, and I'm going to pay them each money to deliver advertisements on my virus removal special. And now I'm going to get a flood of customers coming in that I can hopefully retain some of them as long-term clients, but get a little bit of a flood of money during that time anyway.
These are all good points. Anyway. Well, and I'm just reading, in the chat room, Corin's basically saying that, holiday postcards to existing clients, which I agree with. I think that's a great way to, just keep in touch with those customers, yep. Because if your customers were just based on price, they might forget about you, or they might, forget your business name or whatever, and they might, go to whoever the next person is on the list. But if you keep something in front of them, just say, hey, hope you have a happy holiday, things like that. And this is, the second thing he says, strike up a conversation at local restaurants or donut shops and ask to drop off business cards. And that is one thing that my wife has been doing in our local area. A lot of these businesses that do allow people to put business cards out on their table where people sit all the time, my wife's she has a box in the car, and she'll take a stack of them, and she'll take them to, whatever, the pizza place, the meat place, the bread store, whatever it is, and drop off these business cards. And a lot of people, these local businesses, like it because they want to support local businesses. Yeah. So it's a win-win. You're supporting them, they're supporting you.
Well, they know it'll come around too, because I'm sure if somebody wants some meat, you're going to point them to the meat store.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, this is a great place here. It's where we get our organic beef, grass-fed beef, or whatever. And so I mean, there's a lot of simple things that we can do, and as we're just living our daily lives, I think that's what he's saying, is that's a very important thing. As you're just out and about doing the things you would do anyways, and like you said, striking up that conversation. You're getting your car worked on. hey, how's that computer system working? Whatever.
Oh, for sure.
And
And you got to be careful too where you are and what you're saying. Like I still remember, and thank goodness I wasn't saying anything rude, but I was having sushi with my wife, and I was having a conversation with her about a customer of mine that I was dealing with some weird QuickBooks server problem. This was years ago, and I was complaining about the job and saying like this is ridiculous. I've been on the phone with Intuit and we can't figure it out. And then the woman at the table next to us, she said, "I'm really sorry to interrupt, but it sounds like you fix computers." Yes, I do. Great. I've got a problem with my printer. Could you come and have a look at it sometime? Like, sure, here's my card. Great. I'm really sorry to interrupt. You two have a great day. I'm thinking, you know what? I was having a conversation with my wife. That wound up being a very nice long-term customer. She still calls me once in a while. I'll send my guy out, to go and have a look at them. And that's just how it works, right?
right.
So, talk to people. But if you haven't, join your local chamber of commerce.
Yes.
Because, it does a lot for you. You wind up being able to go into the social events. Your name winds up getting posted on their website, which is going to raise your SEO. And it just, you can learn a lot from it.
Right.
I don't know what you guys are like down there with your chamber of commerce, but up here you get like, you get guest speakers that'll come in and they'll talk about different aspects of business. A lot of the business owners are really friendly. They're more than happy to talk to you about your business goals and structures. People have set themselves up as mentors for young business owners because they want to see their city succeed.
Right.
So it's a huge opportunity for a lot of people with that.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, that's one of the things. I definitely need to do in my area. I've only heard good things with Chamber of Commerce, and it does. You get to be known in the community a little bit, and you get to know other people that are in the community, and you can, have these mutual relationships that are beneficial to both sides.
That's right.
And that's what's important about that stuff. And because bottom line is, even as a good tech, if you hide in your house all the time.
Yep.
And don't ever come out and don't ever talk to anybody, how do you expect your business to grow?
Right. And that's a huge problem for a lot of techs because they want to be techs. And, clearly I'm not like that, but there are a lot of techs out there that are not people.
Right.
That they can't. I couldn't think of another way of saying that because it's multiple. But you have these people that they can't look you in the eye when they're talking, or no offense to any of them, but the bad hygiene thing, like it's a stereotype, yes, but it's a stereotype because it's true for some people.
Right.
And those are the ones that stick in people's head. I know there was a shop here in town where it was a husband and wife team, and the wife wasn't a technical person, and she was at the front counter, and the husband, who was the technical person, was in the back room with the door shut, and you didn't talk to him. And I always thought that was odd until I had the opportunity. and it wasn't that he wasn't intelligent. There was nothing wrong with him. He just didn't have good customer service. He was never taught. So when it came down to talking to customers, he could come out to me and say, okay, look, here's the problem, right? Not that I brought anything really to him, but I went and bought parts all the time. And he could just stick something down on the desk and say, this is the problem, this is the problem, this is the problem, you need to fix these, here's how much it's going to cost. And it's just, like a brick wall, right? Whereas his wife could say, well, we ran to the diagnostic weekend, and and she did a great job presenting it so that you felt okay with it and not just thrown in your face. So, you either need to learn that skill or you need to hire somebody that has that skill. And if you can't do one of those two things, I don't know how to help you.
Well, or you hire somebody like you to take the phone call and actually talk to the customer, and set up the appointment. But you know what, you're still going to be even when you do that for me, you're still going to be. I still have to confront the customer.
That's right. You still need to talk to the customer when right? Because and that wasn't a sales pitch, but thank you for that. I appreciate that.
Oh, no problem.
The
no
bump.
Problem. I'm here all week.
Yeah, even if you hire us, and say, okay, yeah, great, handle all my phone calls, we can sell. Absolutely, I can pretty much sell anybody anything, and that's not an issue. The issue is that it doesn't matter how much I sell them. If it's a hardware problem, I can't do that.
Right.
I need, yesterday I sold somebody on upgrading their hard drive because I got in there and it's like, oh, you've got a 500 gig hard drive and you're out of space. What do you want to get rid of? Nothing. Well, then you need a terabyte hard drive. Here's how much it's going to cost. Bring it on into the shop. We'll take care of you. If they bring it on into the shop and the guy behind the counter is picking his nose and talking all tech talk, you're not going to get that sale. It doesn't matter how good of a job I did. Right? So, like I said, learn the soft skills or hire somebody that has them. A lot of techs have an assistant because they don't have soft skills. There's nothing wrong with that. I will never fault anybody for that because that's who you are, and if you just can't do it, you just can't do it.
Yeah,
but if you can't make the effort, exactly. But if you can make the effort to learn, because as the business owner, you're going to get a lot more respect from the community if you're the one going out to those meetings, you're the one heading out to the chamber, you're the one in the BNI, and not the person who works for you.
Talking about skills, because this is an interesting story and it relates to you, so I'm going to tell it. But I remember, now everybody knows, everybody can see on here that Chris talks well, he takes care of customers well, he presents himself well, and he likes to have a good time and all that kind of stuff. It took a long time for us to get Chris to actually come on and advertise about his services. And he was nervous, and you would never tell it, from talking to him and from even doing a show with him, you can never tell he was nervous, but he was. And even when I first started talking to him about coming on here, I'm like going, I said, you can do it. I said, come on here. If I can do it, you can do it. And he was a little apprehensive even about doing this, but it's something that he knows it enhances what he does. And it helps, and even for myself, coming out here and talking to all you guys out here it helps me to present myself better and to understand what I'm talking about, and to be able to talk about things not only to regular people but also talk about things to other techs, which makes me an all-around better tech. So things like this, podcasting and stuff like that will definitely help. Can most definitely help. So.
Oh, for sure, and thank you for bringing that up too. You're
welcome.
No, you're right. You know what? Public speaking is the second worst fear that I have. I dread going in front of people, and what I hate even more than going out in front of people is going out in front of people when I can't tell how many people are there. Because for all I know, although I know that this isn't the case, but for all I know, there could be 1,000 people listening right now. It's probably closer to somewhere between 5 and 20. But there could be. I could be in front of a huge crowd right now and not even know it, and that is terrifying for me.
Right.
But I know that this is something that can help me. I know that this is something that can help other people, and I'm going to do it because this is what I need to do.
Right.
I had to learn these skills. I had to learn soft skills. I wasn't born with it. A big thing that helped me was a book by Dale Carnegie called How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Great book. Yeah.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of people that kind of scoff at it that know-ish what it's about, but don't really, or they think, it's just all of that is a way to sell. Well, no, it's not. It gets into how you can speak to people, how you should treat people, how you should hold yourself. And yes, it'll help salespeople, but it'll help anybody in a business that's trying to maintain a business relationship. So, it's a great book. If you haven't read it, I really highly recommend that you pick it up. You can get it on Amazon for something like, I don't know, $10-15. It's not an expensive book anymore.
No.
And just read it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
don't and I caution people, don't assume that just because you might know what something is about, you know what? Go ahead and read it for yourself and see if it does help you. It's worth the investment in you to be able to become better at what you do. Mm-hmm. And some people have these skills naturally. I didn't. I learned a lot of these things from reading, and that's why I feel comfortable most of the time. In a long acting career too. But anyways, that's another story. Yeah, never mind. Anyways, so I've being in front of people and doing these types of things has always been. It's not something I was natural at, but it's something I learned over time.
Yeah.
And definitely check some of these things out that we're talking about. I really believe if you're in a business and if you tell yourself you don't have time to read, you're just doing yourself a disservice, because I think we can always learn. You can learn things from like podcasts, which is information a lot of times. You can learn things from reading books. You can learn things from what other people do. I always tell my kids, I said, the best teacher is experience. But really, that's only half true. The best teacher is experience, as long as it's somebody else's experience. That way, you don't have to go through it yourself. So those are the things I look at nowadays. How can I better myself? I don't necessarily need to go through all the hard knocks. Now, some of it you're going to have to go through. It is what it is. Sometimes we learn the hard way. But I would rather learn from somebody else's experiences and go, you know what? I don't think I'm going to make the same mistakes they do.
Yep.
And you're gonna be that much farther ahead for thinking that way. And a lot of times these books, really what they do is they change your mindset, and they really they make you think a little bit differently. And if nothing else, it makes you think, period, which is always a good thing.
Usually.
Unless, okay, there are some caveats to that, right? You can overthink things and
That's right.
and not, what do they say? I can't even remember the
But you
silly
did make a
thing.
good point, because anybody that know, actually I should just say it. For the people that don't know what my background is, like I've done call centers, I've done door-to-door sales. Like I've had a lot of that experience where I had to learn those soft skills, and I went through my entire early career, if you want to call it that, learning these soft skills basically on the street and in real time. And it took me a long time to get there, a good 4 years. But once I got there, I thought, okay, great, I can sell anything, I can talk down anybody. I did retention for a while. I started selling things to people calling in to cancel. So I thought that was an amazing feat on my part, and I was so big-headed about it that it didn't matter what was going on, I was king. Until I wasn't, and until I got shot down one too many times. I think, well, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? And it wasn't what I was doing, it was the mindset that I had while I was doing it. I had the mindset of, I'm going to sell to this person, not the mindset of, I want to do what I can to help this person succeed.
Right.
And the minute I changed that mindset, and it took a lot of books, that How to Influence was the bigger one for me, where I changed my mindset away from the hard sell to, let's just help people. And the more you help people, the better you're going to be off. The more people you help, the more the universe is going to help you. And this isn't that, this isn't the secret or anything like that. It's the way that you treat people. Jeff, if I treat you really well and I help you build your customer base and I help you do all of those things, I'm going to have more calls coming to me because you have more customers calling.
Absolutely.
If I do that for all of my clients, what do you think is going to happen? Because it does multiply.
Exactly.
Right? So now I'm going to keep on doing that, and those people are going to tell their friend Tex, hey, you know what, this guy's really great, and he's doing all these things for me. This is fantastic. Managed service plan is great. The backup is great. They give great support. What's going to happen? I'm going to get more clients who are then going to get more customers, who's then going to bring me more calls. Right. I'm going to continue helping people, and they're going to continue bringing me more business. You guys can do the exact same thing. If you bring yourself into the mindset of, I'm going to help this person. They don't have antivirus. Perfect. I'm going to help them get antivirus. I'm not going to sell it to them. I'm going to give them choices, and I'm going to help them make that choice. I'm going to help them get it installed, and I am going to be compensated for my services, but that's besides the point. And as long as you get yourself into the mindset of, I'm helping this customer, they're going to feel good giving you their money.
Absolutely.
Plain and simple.
Yep.
And they're going to tell their friends and family, this guy was amazing, this girl was amazing, you need to call this company. They can help you with this problem that you're having. And they're going to do the same thing, and they're going to do the same thing. And anybody that tells me that word-of-mouth marketing doesn't mean anything are the people who are closing their doors.
Yeah. No, word of mouth is, it's what you've done for a customer that tells another customer. And here's a hard, fast rule that I've learned over time is that if you do something good for somebody, they're going to tell one or two people. That's just the way it works. It's not a perfect science, but it's the way it works. If you do something bad to somebody, they're going to tell 20 plus people.
Yep.
It's human nature. I can't explain it. Don't want to explain it. I'm just telling you that that's usually the way it is. And so we want to do our best. I think Chris hit it right on the head, is that we want to do our best to help people in fixing their computers. People just want a working computer. They want it to work again. Money is kind of an issue, maybe. I mean, I literally had to talk somebody out this week. I had to talk somebody out of, they had a 7-year-old Windows XP laptop.
Oh, no.
And they wanted to repair it. Well, I saw some sectors were going bad on the hard drive. And I'm like going, okay, that doesn't necessarily mean that the hard drive's failing. It just means that, as everybody knows, a hard drive that's starting to partially fail will start shutting down bad sectors and moving the data to good sectors. And drives can live like that for a long time. Sometimes. But sometimes they could be on the verge of failing. Well, they were almost, hey, well, how much would it be to replace the hard drive, reinstall the operating system? And I'm like, it's just not worth it.
Yeah.
I had to, even though, yeah, I could have sold that and had that customer going, oh, okay, they would have paid whatever. But to me, I'm like going, no, you can go get a decent laptop or even a desktop, and that's where I pointed them. I pointed them to a couple choices on desktops or laptops, depending on what they wanted to do. Yep. And they could do those things for themselves, and then I can help them move data over and stuff like that. Again,
right.
I want to help the person.
That's right.
In your dilemma. So.
And that's the direction you need to take people on and say, listen, yes, I can fix it the way that you're asking me to, and here's how much it is. But you're not paying me to just fix something. You're paying me for my knowledge. Otherwise, you could YouTube this stuff and do it yourself. Okay. What you want is you want me to help you to the best of my ability. So yes, I could fix it, and it's going to cost you $200, $300, $400 depending on how much, blah blah blah. Or you could buy this desktop or this desktop or this desktop or any of these 3 laptops, which will not only be just a little bit more than what it's going to cost to fix this other laptop, but you're going to get all of these extra things. You're going to get so much better hardware. It's going to be so much faster. It's going to do all of these things for you. So now you're still going to have that customer that says, no, I want to take the cheaper option. I want to replace the hard drive. That's fine. But they're still going to be happy because you did what they asked them to do and you helped them. The people who choose the new computer are going to say, you know what, he could have just taken my money and made all of that labor money, or he sent me to Walmart or wherever to pick up this new computer.
Right, exactly.
He helped me.
And that's really what it comes down to. You want, so with all that being said, it's like you want to go out there and do the best you can for your customers, and in turn, that's going to help your business grow. You need to learn how to deal with customers. You're going to have some that are going to be, most of the time customers are decent. Every once in a while, you're going to get somebody that's a little off or whatever. I will caution you that if you charge a little bit more, you'll get less of those. That's just from my experience. I don't get those as much anymore. People that want to spend money to get their product fixed, they're usually pretty decent people.
Yeah.
So.
And I think you really hit it down on that one there. If you're the cheapest guy on the block, you're going to get that customer. You're going to get the cheapest customer around.
Yeah.
That's just how it is. And there's I know we had this discussion, so I'm not going to go too far into it. If you really want to hear this, guys, listen to our previous shows. But if you wind up being the cheapest person getting the cheapest customer, you're going to get those customers that don't want to pay the cheapest price. You're going to get the customers that are constantly unhappy with the level of service that you're providing, and you're going to be burnt out because to make the same amount of money, you're going to have to work twice as hard. It's just not worth it for anybody, including your clients.
Right, absolutely. I'm going to see. Let me double check. Let me see if I can do something here. Because I do have an email, or I do have a voicemail, and I might be able to play it on this computer, and we might be able to hear it. Because it kind of relates.
I downloaded a software mixer. You could send it to me, and I can.
Okay. Let me see. So we got. Let me see if I can find it. Tell me if you can hear this.
No.
It's not playing yet, silly.
Oh.
Just open the file. Oh, there it is. Yep, hold on one sec. So, there's other things that people can do out there to help themselves in their business. It doesn't look like it's playing right now for whatever reason. But I think there's other things that people can do to help themselves in their business as far as, not only taking care of the customer and, you know, maybe sending, now one of the things I do, and I think I talked about this before, is I send out postcards when I, after about a week or so after I've done a service for somebody, just thanking them. You know, hey, thanks for your business. I appreciate you coming to me and, you know, trusting me with your computer. And, you know, it's just a small gesture. Yeah, it costs me 33 cents plus whatever the postcard is, but it's worth it. You know, just to see those customers go, hey, you know, nobody does that. I appreciate that. You know, that kind of helps out. So, but I think, you know, I'm always trying to figure out, and Chris, you might have some more enlightenment on this. A lot of people are trying to figure out how to break into, you know, businesses, and not to break into them to steal anything, but to get into.
Thank you for making that distinction. I was about to go on a completely different conversation about my enlightenment.
Yes, but no, how do you approach, you know, a business customer and get that, you know, and take care of their IT services? And I know, Chris, you've had several businesses that you've worked with over time, and I think part of it was just in your day-to-day business when you're getting something done, you talk to them. But what other ways were you able to, you know, market yourself to other businesses to get them to go, hey, because here's my thought process. A lot of businesses out there, I believe, have a on-call IT staff or somebody they just call randomly when they need something. 9 times out of 10, it's usually somebody that's working there kind of plays IT staff, and do it very poorly, because they know just enough to be dangerous. But how do you present yourself to get in these businesses where you make it to where these businesses want you because they don't want to have any downtime? They want to be up and running, you know, 24/7, or, you know, whatever their hours are.
Understand your client. Look, I think that a big mistake that a lot of people make when they're trying to break into the business client sector, which, let's face it, is where the money is.
Right.
They try to be the general IT support company, and you can't, because business isn't residential. You can't fix everything in a business. What you can do is you can learn about a specific type of business, figure that out, get some clients in that business type, and then branch from there. So, perfect example, I'm going to use myself for this here in my progression. I started off at a major car manufacturing plant. I was working there, and then the contract was actually taken over by my company. So I had a fairly large contract with them that paid almost nothing. But you know, but what I learned was the auto industry. I wound up learning some Linux-ish a little bit because I had to for that job. So I learned what I needed to do to deal with that client. But a lot of what I learned was the fast-paced corporate IT. I've got to get this fixed and get it out the door. Right. Now, as I learned that industry, I started learning a little bit about the distribution points, about what types of systems that they ran there, and found that they ran a completely different type of software. So the IT companies that were getting those contracts were IT companies that had learned that software so that they can specifically assist that market. So when I got out of that auto manufacturing plant flat out because they wouldn't take my increases, I learned specific software that the local shop was using. And I learned it after I had a conversation with him about how the IT guy that he was using took like a week to come out whenever he made an appointment.
Okay.
So I asked him, I just had a frank conversation with him, and I said, well, listen, you know, this is how much money I would wind up charging, but what software do you use? Okay, well, they just use regular web browsers for most of their work, and then they have this one specific proprietary software that they use. Perfect. So I learned as much as I could about that software. And when I approached them and said, look, here's my offer, I had a managed service plan set up with them. I assist them with their software whenever it needs to be done, and they were happy. Well, then that wasn't enough for me anymore. I wanted more than just a couple of customers that use that software. So I said, okay, well, what do I want to get into next? How about restaurants? Well, what do restaurants use around here? Pixel Point. So I learned as much as I could about Pixel Point. Then I picked up a couple of restaurants that use the Pixel Point software because the closest person that does Pixel Point support is in Toronto, which is 2 hours away.
Okay.
Now I have Pixel Point. So, as I started learning these individual client bases, I started increasing my pool of people that I could market to. My next step that I had started on before I did the remote support tech team is I started learning the medical industry, and I started learning different clinics server suites so that I could get into the PIPEDA, which is HIPAA down where you guys are. Start learning all of that stuff because it was a huge market for me to tap into. So if you're going to get into the business, look at what your businesses are. Look at what they're using. Learn what they're using. Because as soon as you get into things like that, or QuickBooks, or Simply Accounting, or something that they use, that's going to be your foot in the door, and that's what's going to get you expanding into the rest of their IT.
Right. No, that's a good point. Very good point. So I think there's a lot of things that people can do to I think a lot of times it's like, like we said before, making yourself known, but you're also saying learn some skills. One of the things that a lot of times people will say, hey, can you help me with my QuickBooks? And I go, or let's not even that. Can you help me with my iTunes? I know next to nothing about iTunes. I can try to walk you through the process. But yeah, exactly. It's like,
really? I don't know iTunes.
I don't know iTunes. So
here's the number.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, but when you learn to do certain things, I mean, I can always troubleshoot, and I'll eventually figure it out. But really, to learn some of these softwares that businesses are using is genius, because there a lot, like you said, a lot of the industries are using the same types of software.
That's right.
So you don't have to learn 20 different pieces of software. Just learn the main ones.
That's right.
And then some of the main ones.
It is localized, though, and that's what you need to remember too. Is that when you go into like the restaurants, let's use restaurants because actually this is a perfect example. Around here, Pixel Point is the big company for restaurant point of sale systems, and it's because the company that makes it is based out of Toronto, so that's where they focus their marketing. But if I were to go down to where you are, or if I were to go to any other province here or any state, I'd be willing to bet that it's not going to be Pixel Point. It's going to be whatever's being made locally there. So don't run out and learn Pixel Point. It's safe to run out and learn QuickBooks. It's safe to run out and learn Simply Accounting, because between those two, a lot of companies are using that. Right. So the QuickBooks Pro Advisor program and the I can't remember the partner program for Simply Accounting. It's just like the Simply Accounting something partner program. Joining those is a great idea because they provide you with the training and you get a huge marketing of clients to do that. But don't go out and learn Pixel Point. It's probably not going to help you. Figure out what it is that the companies around you are using and learn that.
Right. No, I agree. So I think a lot of what we're saying is, during these slow times, you've got to take a look at your business, analyze it. Now, if you're going 100 miles an hour, all the time, that's great. But like Chris said earlier, one of the things that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to schedule in downtime.
Yep.
And I know I've heard Mike Smith from the Mike Tech Show talk about this. He literally has to schedule downtime, and I'm kind of the same way.
Yep.
If I don't schedule myself downtime, I'll never take it. I just won't. My wife goes, "Are you ever going to sit down?" I can't sit down. I mean, I do sit down. I'm sitting down now. But this is where I sit in front of my computer doing things,
right?
Whatever it might be, or sliding behind me and working on a computer, or whatever. Figuring out crawling underneath my desk and trying to figure out my internet connection. Well, that's not all the time, fortunately. So.
And you're right. And a lot of people aren't in the position to do this because their business is so volatile, or they don't have somebody else working with them, which is a huge problem. One-man tech shops can make it, but once you get to the point where you're so busy that you don't remember when you ate last, that's an issue, right? I have a recurring schedule on my calendar to drop the kids off at school, to pick them up from school, to eat lunch, to have dinner, and to put the kids to bed. It's 5 recurring daily things on my calendar, and I had to do that. I had to, because even with another tech working with me, I'm still busy enough, I'm still constantly on the go, that I have to schedule those things. And then when I decide to do something like, take my kids to the amusement park, I have to schedule that day off. I have to make sure that I know what day I'm going so I can have my tech prepared for it and deal with all of that junk.
Right.
So get into the habit now. Get into the habit while you're slow. Get into the habit while you don't have so many customers that you can't remember when you ate last, to sit down and say, look, I'm going to need to set a lunchtime. I'm going to need to set a dinner time. I'm going to need to set up what time I have to do these specific things that have to get done every day or every week. And get it on your calendar. If you're not using Exchange, use Exchange so it pops up on everything. It's a couple bucks a month. It's completely worth it. Because if I don't have an alert, no, seriously, because if I don't have an alert on my phone that says, okay, it's time to pick up the kids, I'm going to be here, or I'm going to be somewhere else on a job, and my kids are going to be waiting at the school crying because I haven't come and picked them up. And it doesn't make me a bad parent, although a lot of people will say that it does. It's because I am a business owner and my business is busy. My business is always moving. And if I don't schedule these things, they don't happen.
Right.
So get yourself into that.
And I'll give you a free alternative too. You can also use Gmail.
Yeah, I've had sync problems with Gmail.
I don't use, and let me say this, I do not use Gmail with Outlook, even though I love Outlook. Okay. But Gmail is, because I have an Android phone, Gmail is the universe that I live in, or Google is the universe I live in. So I've never had a sync problem between my phone and my online calendar per se. But I can't, as far as syncing between, if you use Outlook, definitely get Hosted Exchange.
Yeah. I've had too many sync problems where Gmail didn't sync calendars with my phone.
Oh, okay.
So I moved away from that very quickly when I realized that it was affecting my business. And this isn't, I'm going to say this, Jeff, and please don't take offense on this, but if you're running a business, using a free tool is generally not the way to go. Well,
now, technically, my free tool is not free anymore. It's just I'm grandfathered in, so it's free for me.
Well, then there you go. and I'm really glad that you have Google Apps.
Yes.
Back in the day, yeah.
Yeah.
I have free Google Apps too because I was a reseller for them for a long time and I moved away from them entirely. They keep reminding me I have a free account and I don't use it.
Gotcha. You know, and I've thought about it. I've actually said I love Microsoft. Just so everybody knows, full disclosure.
Sure.
And I've thought about if I was going to move to a hosted exchange. You know, the Microsoft Office universe for myself, what I would probably do is and I've thought about this, I might actually get a Windows phone.
Oh, okay.
Because, really? Well, yeah, and because the way that they work together nowadays compared to what it was 5 years ago is night and day. And so my problem is anytime I move from one universe, or if I try to split myself between universes, it doesn't seem to work out. Because I've had Outlook sync problems with my phone. So
right.
It's an Android phone, and that's an issue for me. So
you had an Outlook sync problem. I get that.
Yeah.
I have Office 365.
Yeah.
Flat out. All right. Office 365. Download the apps onto your phone. Use the hosted exchange. Completely seamless, no problems. This is a Samsung Galaxy 3. It works perfectly.
Hey, that's what I have.
Hey, do you have the cool case with the viewfinder on the front?
No, mine's got the cool
Ooh.
hard rubberized case.
Unfortunately, I dropped my phone when I was at Canada's Wonderland, and the phone actually flew out of the case. And the sensor that's on the case that touches the phone to tell it when the screen is closed got scratched, so it doesn't make contact. So I have to replace the case. But the case protected the phone.
Well, there you go.
So it did its job, but now I don't have the cool touchscreen on the front, and I have to replace that now.
Oh man. Anyways, I think there's a lot of different ways that you can do things. I agree. There are some more robust ways to do things. You're going to hear varying stories. Some people, hey, the Office 365 stuff works, no problem. Other people I've heard, they've had issues. I've never had an issue myself with the Gmail, the Google apps. That's just me. I've never had it not tell me something. The other thing that I like is when I'm going out to a customer's house, I go onto my computer, I type something into the Google Maps, and that's the first thing that shows up on my phone when I get in my car.
Yeah.
I just hit the little navigation button, boom, I'm done.
Hey, I'm not saying that they don't have cool stuff. I'm just saying that, it works for me. So, I mean, I guess what's important here is you have to do what works for you, you have to do what's comfortable with you, and you have to do what's right, which is normally what I say, but I guess this time we're going to have to split it.
Well, yeah, whatever works for you, and if it's not working for you, then I think what we're both saying also is look for another solution.
Yeah.
And sometimes you might have to pay for that solution. Every solution that I use in my business is not. I might have started off free, which is fine because that gets you up and going. Yeah. But I've had to move away from some free services to paid services, and Chris has just got money coming out of his ears, so he just pays for everything.
Oh, is that what you think is happening? But if I had as much money as you think, Jeff, don't you think I'd have a sound studio by now to do these in?
Yeah, well,
You'd think so. No, I'm leaned up against my treadmill right now. That's what I am.
Hey, you know what? I'll never change. I love this office. This is where I always podcast from. Yeah, I might get some better equipment eventually, but anyways.
Marble desk,
No, I don't know. I'm a simple guy. I like my simple stuff.
But that's the thing. Like there are very few techs that I know that are making, in the over $500,000 gross. Right. If you're at that point, you have a lot of expenses too. So I don't anybody look at me like the rich man. We all know that's not true.
Well, I think it's one of those things that you really try to, is you're trying to grow your business. And here's where you got to, you've got to be, I don't want to say slick, but you've got to understand what I see a lot of techs doing, and what I hear a lot of techs doing is they're running around just constantly putting the fire out, and they're paying almost as much in taxes as what they're actually bringing home. And that never changes for them. And I'm kind of like, well, if that was the end goal for me, this is just me. But and I have other things that I can do, so it's not a huge thing for me. But I probably would stop. I would quit.
Yeah. But here's the thing, though. If you're paying that much in taxes, you're not reinvesting in the company.
Right.
Right. So you really do have to spend money to make money. If you're using free tools, stop. Because again, I'm not. Don't take this as a thing. But
whatever, you hate Gmail, it's fine. I don't care.
Whatever, I do hate Gmail. But look, that's not the point. So I wound up talking to one of my clients. They just started, brand new client. They're very, very excited. They're just starting out their IT company. I think their company's about a week old now, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
And hey, no problem. I'm more than happy to help you. And the first step that they took is they said, I'm going to have to spend a little bit of money and hire you guys because I don't know how to fix everything, and because I still have a full-time job. Okay, great. Well, we need to get you grown to the point where you can leave that job. So what are you going to use for a ticketing system? Well, what do you mean? Okay, well, let's take a step back here for a second. So you don't have a ticketing system. How are you going to keep track of your jobs? Well, I bought the Technical Business Kit. Perfect. So you've got work orders. How are you filing them? Oh. Okay, well, we got to think about that, right?
Right.
So, as the conversation progressed, we found, okay, filing it wasn't really going to be a good idea for him because he didn't have enough storage. And this is going to wind up becoming an issue, so we started looking at cloud systems. Well, now you're looking at paying money every month for a cloud system, and he balked at the prices. I really can't pay this. Well, why not? Why can't you pay this? Well, because it's expensive. Okay, but one job will pay for this.
Right.
Right? And then 2 jobs will pay for us. So you need to get 3 jobs a month to make your expenses so far. And that's basically going to be taxes that you're not paying because it's not income. Right. Now let's keep on looking at more expenses that you're going to need to add. And by the time everything is said and done, the first 5 jobs that you're doing for a month goes to your bills. Well, that sounds like it sucks. For a new business owner, it really, really does become an issue in your mindset to think the first 5 things that I do is completely worthless. But it's not. Because those 5 things are going to get you 5 more things if you do a good job. You're paying for good tools so that you can do your job well. You're paying for invoicing systems so that you can keep track of all of your money. These are all things that you should set the foundation for when you start your business, not when you're already at the point where you're losing yourself because you don't have them.
Right.
Spend money to make money.
Yeah.
You should not be paying that much money in taxes if you have the right tools in place.
Oh, exactly. Well, and I come from a little different aspect of that. I believe you can start in this business very inexpensively and take baby steps and use some of the, I started with the tech-enabled business kit, and I literally used that kit for, it was at least 3 years.
Sure.
And for me, it's fine. And you know what? And I still have my paper work orders signed in a file, no problem. But what started happening was I was really getting to the point where it was like trying to communicate with my customers and trying to keep up with my customers and trying to get them the information they needed instead of having to call them all the time. I finally went to a different system that would do all these things under one roof. And yes, it costs a little bit of money,
Yep.
but it was worth it to do that. And there's, I'll give you an example. I mean, I use Repair Shopper right now. And to me, for the computer business, for my computer business, it works perfectly well and does everything I need it to do. Matter of fact, it does so many more things that I don't even take advantage of because I haven't been able to sit there and figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
Which I'll be coming up with I've got the guys coming on from Repair Shopper, and we're going to do an online video, and we're going to use my business as an example, and we're going to walk through the steps of creating a customer, how the different tools and things that you can use in it. So hopefully that'll help people out. But there's other ones out there. That's the one that I found. I looked at some of the different ones. That's the one that I found that made sense for me. And for to be honest with you, you can use most things in their system, and it's a great service. There is the paid aspect of it, but if you do 25 invoices a month, which is a small IT shop, which is not bad, you can use their software for free. And then when you get to the point where you want to market and do some other different things with email blasts and keeping in contact with people and stuff like that, you're going to pay whatever the nominal fee is to bring it up to that level. But you can build your business along the way. I think it's an easy system to use once you watch somebody else do it.
Yeah, and once it's set up. I
Exactly.
mean, Repair Shopper is great. We use Help Desk because just the way that our system works, we need to have the customization and the specific things that Help Desk brings. But it was the same thing. I had to get it all set up first, and once it was set up, it was nice and simple.
Yeah.
Right. But when you come down to spending money on things, and I think that we've probably talked about this too, and I don't know why I keep circling around to this stuff. But
you like talking about money.
Right. Well, I like money. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, I do too.
But when you're looking at spending money on something, you have to think, what's the cost benefit of not spending the money on it? And so, I'm going to use tickets as an example in the invoicing system. So the tickets and the invoices are all done in one system, and then they're imported into QuickBooks. And that saves a lot of time because I'm going, if I were to write up a ticket in one system, create an invoice in another system, send it to them, have them make the payment, and then manually update the payment, per invoice, you're looking at 8-9 minutes an invoice, right?
Right.
And then Repair Shopper does the same thing. You've got the invoice and the ticket all in one place, and they auto update. So if I create the ticket, make an invoice off the ticket, send out that invoice from the same system, and when the payment comes in, it automatically updates the invoice as paid. And that took me 2 minutes. 4 to 6 minutes a ticket doesn't sound like a whole lot until you're doing 30 or 40 tickets a day.
Right. Exactly.
And once you get to that point where you realize you're doing 30 to 40 tickets a day, and you're even saying 4 minutes a ticket, I mean, that's your time's being thrown out the window.
Right.
And for every hour that's going to wind up losing me, how much money is that going to lose me? Now, is that worth paying for the ticketing system? And for the most part, the answer is yes. And if it's not yes now, it's going to be soon.
Right.
So now we have to look at another cost benefit. Is it worth me not getting the ticketing system now, or learning the ticketing system later when it's going to cost me time and money to learn it. And that was the mindset that I took in. I need to get the ticketing system now because right now it's not going to cost me any money to learn it because I'm not going to turn down jobs because I'm learning a new system.
Right. And it's two different thought processes. There are people out there that right now, here's what I'm going to caution against, because I see a lot of people do this too, and they do themselves just as much of a disservice. They go out and buy all these things to get their computer repair business started, and they don't use but 30% of the whole shebang.
Yeah.
And when that happens, what ends up happening is there's so much outgo and not enough income, and they end up getting they're in and out of business just like that. So
yeah.
You have to caution yourself, and I agree. Take some time, analyze what it is you need right now, and figure out what tools you need right now. And that's, if you guys ever want to call in and ask, we'll tell you some of the different tools, or you've heard them on this show. Some of the things we've used, some of the things we've used in the past, some of the things we're using today. What we would have done had we had some of these tools earlier, those types of things. So, yeah, it's just you have to analyze your own business and see where you're at and figure out what it is you want to spend. And there are some things that are definitely worth spending money on because it will save you time and effort, and you have a seamless paper trail, even though it's all digital, when we're talking about ticketing, a seamless paper trail that's always there versus I have file folders full of my invoices. I have file folders full of customer receipts. And these all had to be done manually, which took me a lot of time. And what I would end up doing a lot of times is that I would screw them up.
Yeah.
And so it took me a while to go back and fix them. But when it's all under one system, it was, it made it that much easier. And had I known about Repair Shopper years ago, I probably would have started with that system right away.
Yeah, I'm gonna wind up. If you want to end this debate at any time, just let me know. But I'm gonna debate that a little bit.
Go ahead.
So where I disagree with you was what you just said, where you can start up the business very inexpensively, and not everybody can afford to spend that money on it right away. You didn't really prepare the business before you went into it. Granted, there are going to be people who kind of got thrown into starting a business. I've seen a lot of people who get laid off from their jobs. There's no work available, and the best shot that they have on it is starting a business. It's not where you should be in life. It is never how a business should get started, but it's worked for people.
Right.
It does. So those people who decided to become a business owner and not thrust into it, okay, you should have 6 months worth of expenses already. When you start your business, you should have already researched the systems that you're going to use before starting your business. There are plenty of resources, both online, through your local chamber of commerce, sometimes through the public libraries. The library here has a marketing where they help you do market research, and they have a weekly thing where they'll help small business owners that want to get started. There's the Canadian Young Business Association, the Canadian Young Business Foundation for young people under 25 that want to start a business. They give you all these resources so that you can do that market research and figure out these are all the things that I'm going to need to successfully run this business. This is how much all of these things are going to cost every month or per year. So I need to save up. I'm always going to recommend to people that if they have the choice, figure out all of these things ahead of time, save up 6 months worth of their expenses, and then just go for a run on it. That is going to be the best way that you can start your business, is if you have everything in place at the start. I know that people are going to disagree with me. I don't even care if I have any hate mail from this. but really, if I had done that when I started my first business, the way that I did it when I started the second one, that first business would probably be doing a lot better. Not that it wasn't holding its own weight. I was more than paying the bills. But I'm doing a lot better this time around because I had everything figured out at the start. Yes, you're going to change things. Yes, you're going to evolve. Yes, your tools are going to continue to expand. But you had your base set, and that's what's important.
Right. No, I'm not gonna totally disagree with what you're saying. That probably is the best way to do it, but in a realistic sense, that's not what most people are doing. And most people have had, they might have another job outside of what they're doing, and they might start off as a, hey, I'm going to fix computers because I'm good at it, I like it, type of thing, and they're going to go into it and they're going to grow their business slowly. And the point is, there's nothing wrong with either way. I'm going to say, yeah, you're going to have a more solidified business. This goes back to why people back in the day would go to the bank and get a business loan. Now, not that I'm advocating going into debt to start your business. I think that's ludicrous.
Yes.
In reality, is a lot of people are not. You can procrastinate to a point where you're saving the money up, and then you end up going and doing something else. If it's something you're passionate about doing, I think you can jump into it wholeheartedly and just, kind of learn as you're going, learn along the way, and get the tools as needed. That's what I did with my business, because there was no way with a wife and 5 kids working a full-time job, single income household, there was no way I was going to save up 6 months of, revenue to, push my business forward. I just started doing it. I started advertising. I went and spent a little bit of money in marketing, business cards, different things like that, and I had a good, solid flowing business for a long time till I moved.
Yeah.
And then, obviously between those times have changed a little bit too. But that's what I did, and that worked fine for me. And then I got to a point where I said, you know what, I really need to start investing some things into my business to make it so that I can continue this business on. Because if I don't, I'm just going to go, it's too much work.
Yeah.
So there's a couple different schools of thoughts on how you can start off things, and I don't think I'm not disagreeing with either way. There are choices out there that people can make and that can get you started. And I do, like I said, I think Chris's way is probably the best. If you're disciplined, which most people aren't, you can go ahead and do that, and that's probably the best way to have those expenses where you're not concerned about having that monthly amount of money that you're paying out, and you concentrate on the business itself.
Right.
And that takes your mind off of the little things.
And that's the problem, right? Because most businesses are not going to turn a profit for the first year. Some of them too.
Right.
So that's a huge concern, especially if you're in a single income family. And I can relate, because up until recently, my family was a single income family. My wife was still going through school. She only really started working a couple months ago.
Right.
So, all of this I did as a single income, and I completely get it. You need to make sure that the rent's paid. You have to make sure that your kids are fed. I didn't care about eating myself.
Right.
But, I wanted to make sure that the kids were. And that's bad because I'm diabetic, so not eating is a big thing. But, but that's where I was, and we were struggling.
Right.
We were struggling for a very long time. And it wasn't until, again, that mind change happened, where, listen, I'm gonna help people. I'm not gonna sell to them. And then, I really started, let's start that savings. Let's make sure everything's going. Right. And you really have to take a big pivot, because if you're struggling day in, day out, it's not because you're not putting the effort into it. It's not because you're not passionate about what you're doing. It's because it's not working. So you need to make it work. You need to find out what you need to change. Use those resources. Go to the chamber. Heck, jump on Technibble.
Right.
Do whatever you need to do. Get some advice from somebody to see what you can change in your business structure that's going to make that change to a profit.
Absolutely.
Everybody can get there.
Yep. I agree. Yeah, or listen to this show.
Or listen to this show.
We'll always have opinions.
Talk about stuff sometimes.
Even though they're varied slightly, but it's all good information, and hopefully I believe it's like this, in my opinion, and I think we'll kind of end off here, but I think, not that I'm trying to get the last word in, but, but it's kind of like, and this is what I explain to people with kids. I say, everybody wants to, read a book about a child and figure out how to raise that child. And I'm going to tell you, from my standpoint of having 5 different children, they're way different. Every one of them is different. Every one of them receives things differently. Every one of, different things bother them. I couldn't read a book on how to raise kids, and it would have been messed up for probably 4 of them. 4 out of the 5. So I would have done, I would have taught the one kid good. The rest
That's
of them, no.
success, right?
You know, yeah, exactly. So it's like so people are different too, and I think in this business, a lot of times you just have to really just think about it. Just sit down and think about it. And I'll tell you what, another good thing to do, in my opinion, and what's worked for me, is sit down with your significant other, your spouse, you know, wife, husband, whatever, and talk about your business, talk about your goals, talk about the things that you want to do, the things that you want to achieve, because that other person can really be a lot of help. Even if they don't know a lot of things about the business per se, the things that they say will make you think, and you'll be better off for. I guarantee it. It's a guarantee, because I've been married, you know, over 25 years now, and that's just the way it works. You know, use those resources you have right next to you, because you know what, when you're in a marriage situation, a lot of times your spouse really wants to help you achieve whatever it is you're trying to achieve, because obviously you're doing it for the opposite person, and you know you're helping the situation, you know. So definitely use that resource. And I've gotten a lot of things, even though my wife knows absolutely nothing about fixing computers. Nothing. She is a great sounding board to understand, and she understands a lot of things about business, and she's a great sounding board to go, hey, I'm thinking about doing this, and she'll go, well, did you think about this? And I go, no, I didn't think about that, but that's a great idea. Let me look at both and see which way I want to go. You know, so that it's just a resource that's right there for most of us that are married, or you know, so. I'll throw that tip out there.
I will always say that my wife is smarter than I am. She might not know how to fix a computer, but she definitely knows people.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Exactly. Yep. So we've been well over an hour, and you know, we had a lot of technical difficulties today. No phone calls. We will definitely. I think it seems like whatever I did to fix the internet connection is fixed. I just need to get some things fixed on this end so we can play some voicemails and stuff like that, and we will get that all going. Chris, where can people find you at? I think we lost David a long time ago. Unfortunately, we will definitely have him back on, because I want to hear some of his opinions on things. But where can people find you at?
Sure. So you can find me by emailing us. It's info@rstechteam.com. You can also go to our website, www.rstechteam.com. You can find us on Technibble at Carcomp, CARRCOMP, or you can give us a call at 866-568-2813.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming out and sharing the information. It's been a great show. A lot of good information I think we've shared today.
I hope so.
And I like the different varying opinions, so I never get mad at you, you know, till we get off camera. But anyways, you guys can find me on Google Plus at Jeffery Halash, or Twitter at TechNutPC. And if you want to leave a voicemail, please call us or call live during the show. The number is the same, 1-888-697-0162. And if you're a computer repair tech and would like to be a guest on Podnutz Daily, please email me at podnutzdaily@podnutz.com. I'm always looking for technicians to come on a show and just share what they're doing in their shops. And if you guys would like to feature your product or service on this show, please email me at podnutz@podnutz.com. If you are a business who has a product or service for the computer repair field, please feel free to contact me, and we'll talk about your product or service to help other techs out so that they know what's out there. You know, because a lot of times we don't know. We could do a lot of research, but this is an easy way to let a lot of techs know all at one time. And you guys can also help support the Podnutz Network. The next time you're shopping at Amazon, go to Amazon.com, or go to Podnutz.com/Amazon. And I want to thank everyone for listening and subscribing to the show. We'll see you next time on Podnutz, the Computer Repair Podcast. So do you hear that at all?
No.
Okay.
I told you to sing it.
I can't sing it. It's a electronic dance music.
Oh yeah, you got do 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 do.
So this has been a very good show, by the way. I'm sorry we lost David. It kind of sucks.
Yeah.
The positive part of it, I think, is that it seems like the my ISP has fixed my internet problem.
Perfect.
So I guess it was a grounding issue, but time will tell. It also could be the day. So that worked out good.
My internet sucks on days ending with Y.
Yeah, exactly. So one of the things that I forgot to hit record at the beginning of the podcast just to let you know.
Ah.
So I'm gonna.
I know you're not serious.
Yeah, I'm dead serious. It's been one of those days.
What?
So.
That was an amazing show, and it wasn't recorded.
Well, it was recorded because it's recorded right now. So,
but when did it start?
I don't know, maybe 10, 15 minutes in.
Okay, so we got the good debate in, and we got all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
Okay, good.
I figured it out long. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at it. I'll look at what I actually do have recorded here, and then what I'll probably do is just download the audio after this post goes up.
Okay.
We'll go from there.
Splice
it.
it.
Yeah. Well, and I think I can use, we might splice it, or I'll see. I'll see what I'm going to do. I don't know what changed. I know I had to switch sound cards, which that's why you guys couldn't hear anything. So I need to figure out why it kept kicking me out.
Try turning it off and on again.
Oh, if only I did, and it kept going out.
All right. Install Adobe Reader.
Yeah, I've got that. Corin said, "Hey, glad I watched live." Yeah, it was interesting. No, it was a good show. We'll get it together and we'll make it work.
We're gonna get our stuff together.
Yeah, we'll eventually get our stuff together.
Right.
Oh man,
I'm starting to find though that we wind up with a better show when the two of us are debating about something.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, and really, there's a lot of different schools of thought on things, and I've done things differently than you've done things, and you've learned things that I haven't learned, and
vice versa.
Yeah,
it's sure that there's something in there that you know that I don't.
Yeah, I can't figure it out yet, but whatever.
We will.
I don't know. Hey, I've been married 25 years, so that's a good.
Yeah, that is a bonus. You got that on me. That's for sure.
So I like the different opinions, and hopefully people can get something from that. As far as the technical stuff, I did run into an issue, and I might need to replace my sound card, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. I might switch the cables after this show.
It gives you an excuse to get a better sound card.
Well, what it's doing, I have two of them. One goes into the one computer, and then the other one goes in the other computer. But the one that goes into this computer, it seemed like it was when I was editing after I did a reinstall on this system, since you guys may be buying SSD.
Yeah, we really had to twist your arm there, didn't we?
Yeah, you did. It's still. You should have seen me trying to get games downloaded, man. That was horrendous.
Hey, look, I'm telling you. I had to fix my daughter's laptop because the hard drive went out on it.
Yeah.
I replaced it with a 150 gig solid state hard drive, down from the terabyte drive that was in there before, and then mapped all of her everything except for her desktop to my system in a folder only she can access.
Oh, okay.
Because she doesn't go anywhere with the laptop. The thing weighs as much as she does. Huge improvement. Huge improvement in the system itself. And now every time she downloads something, I can tell because my hard drive space slowly goes down.
That's a good point.
Well, she doesn't have the space anymore, right? So I set her up.
No, that's good. And what I did was I have a 250 gig SSD, and it's basically right now it's got about 65 gigs on it. Operating system, all the Adobe products that I use, different tools that I use on this computer, and so that's not too bad. There's some. I have Windows 8.1 Pro, so there's like 10 gigs of the shadow copy stuff on there, which is cool. Put that extra speed crunch in your style. Oh, yeah, you'll figure it out. Right.
No, what's your boot time down to now?
Oh, I don't know. It's fast.
I don't. What, you haven't timed it yet?
No, I don't care, dude. As long as it comes back up, that's all that's all I care about.
I could. You know what? I could shut my computer down and start it back up and rejoin this call before you're done your next sentence.
Oh yeah, I don't know if it's that fast, but yes, it's fast. No, it does. You know what? Because all the systems and stuff that I do have running, between Google Drive and the SkyDrive and all that kind of stuff that's running in the background, because I use some of these services and I use several different ones. They actually everything boots up so quickly. It's everything. So that part of it is really cool. As far as opening, opening programs and stuff is a little faster. I don't want to say it's like, I don't want to say night and day. It's okay.
How much RAM you got?
32 gigs.
Oh, well then I don't see what your problem is.
I don't, like I said, my system was running pretty darn good, even with the spinning drive. So like I said, the start of the boot time and all that kind of stuff is a lot faster. But I've got a 2 terabyte spinning drive where I keep all my data on, and then what I did was I took the 250 gig drive, which is only using 65 gigs right now, and I really won't add a whole lot more to it. What I did was I took my old spinning drive, it's a terabyte drive, and I did a clone of my 250 gig, and I'll do that like once a week, because I've got a dock on the top of my computer I can just plug the hard drive into, and it made it an exact clone, and that way if my SSD ever decides to poop out on me, I can basically swap the drives and be back up and running in seconds. So
good luck on having that thing break on you, Jeff.
Okay. No, you know what? I have set myself up just in case, and I do also have I use a Cronus True Image. I made an image of it, which is on my backup drive.
Yep.
So even with that, I can get the system back up and running, even if something happens to a portion of that drive or whatever.
Don't get me wrong, I will never, ever put anybody down for setting up backups and redundancy. Ever.
Yeah.
If you don't have enough backups, it's because you never can. Okay?
Yeah.
Sorry, but that's just how it is. So yeah, no, it's a great idea. I should probably back mine up other than just the files, but I have so many hard drives laying around here that if mine went down, I could be up and running fairly quickly. And they all have OSs that have been installed on this system.
Well, and that's it. I mean, I have my 2 terabyte data drive, and I have a 2 terabyte backup drive that's in the same system, and then I've got I've got the terabyte clone, and then I've got another terabyte drive where I'm going to actually back up the Acronis backup files on that, and make that work. I went to try to use Crash Plan, and I was going to use Crash Plan because everybody talks so highly of it, and I have been a Carbonite user for years, and Carbonite's worked for me just fine. But yes, I know, SOS. Anyways,
no, not even just SOS. I just want anything that has versioning.
Well, so from my standpoint, again, this works for me. Versioning past 30 days, I could care less about. If I haven't,
no, I couldn't either. What I have a problem with is that CryptoLocker going in and encrypting all of my backups is a huge problem for me.
Well, it shouldn't be able to. It would only touch whatever's on your system, though.
You'd think so, but when it backs up and writes over all of your backups there, and then you wind up spending 2 weeks on the phone with Carbonite trying to find something that's not encrypted, then that becomes an issue. And believe me, when that went through, I spent enough time on the phone with Carbonite for different clients to know that it did not work.
Really? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
That's interesting.
That's why we didn't use Carbonite in the first place. We were going to. We were just going to. Carbonite was going to set us up with a distributor license so that we could resell to the resellers so that they could resell to the clients. Right, we dropped the entire thing when the CryptoLocker thing happened.
Okay. Well, so with that being said, I have redundant, back.
No, you do. I'm not arguing you. You have your hard drive of.
But I'm an extremist when it comes to that. So it's what works for me. And to be honest with you, how do I say this without coming off arrogant?
You're not, but go ahead.
If I ever get bit by CryptoLocker, I guess I'm just a complete idiot. That's all. Because
gosh.
I know, I said it out loud. Because I've never had dude, I can't remember the last time I had a virus was in the early 2000s. And it was my own fault. I clicked on something I knew I shouldn't have. It was an instant messenger.
I'm in the same.
You know what I mean? So.
Gary, like I don't. I got the last time I got infected was Windows 98.
No, I did get infected. It was a Windows XP for me.
Yeah.
It was like probably 2003, 2004, and I was using Microsoft Instant Messenger at the time, and somebody had a pop-up that came up, and I hadn't talked to him in a while. Said, "Hey, check out my new car." And like a complete and utter idiot, that's why, like, people send me stuff in emails. I tell them, I said, unless you tell me ahead of time, whatever you send me, all I'm going to do is delete it. I don't even look at it. I don't spend time doing it. You know?
I had to teach my little brother that when he got a pop-up like that, what he had to do was respond to the pop-up and say, "What's this?"
Right. I don't even do that. I just close it down.
And
like,
he had idiot friends too, though. See, here's the thing: you got to understand, my brother's not exactly the smartest cookie in the stash. But
Martin says it. He says the crypto gods will hunt you down now. Bring it on, baby. Bring it on.
I just got disconnected from IRC. Look at that.
What?
Yeah, that's weird. Anyway, so software caused connection abort.
Uh-oh.
Huh. Well, there you go. Anyway, so moving back to my idiot brother, what would happen is his friends would actually
send him. Listen to this show.
I don't care if he does. He knows he's an idiot. But if he,
oh my God,
he would be chatting with his friends, and then another friend would send him something, and it would be a legitimate link, but there'd be no forewarning, there'd be no nothing. They just send him link, and he'd click on them, and they'd be completely legit. And I had to train him to respond to his friends and say, "What is this?" and wait for a response back before clicking on it, because he got himself infected like 15 friggin' times.
Right.
And then my wife, and God love her, she's an amazingly smart person, and she doesn't usually make mistakes on this stuff. But we had to I got her set up on her brand new laptop. And I hadn't installed the managed services on there, so the antivirus wasn't on there yet. And she was down.
Uh-oh. And I don't know if that's me or you. Uh-oh. Oh. All right, am I still on? Can you guys hear me? Oh. Hello. Okay. Thank God it's not me. I'm looking at my internet connection going, oh man, did I go down again? Did I talk too much? Okay. So I don't know if you guys heard earlier, but basically my internet connection I've been working on for like the last 4 weeks. And we basically did some more ground straps today on the internet connection, the coaxial cable, and hopefully that has fixed the problem. It looks like everything's good. Yeah, the crypto gods. Jeff 1, Chris 0. Chris, are you back? I see 2 frozen things. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's hilarious. Well, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the show, even with all the technical difficulties. We'll get this more refined over time. I enjoyed coming back on and talking. This is what I do for this is what I do to relieve tension in my life. I come on and talk about these things, and hopefully it helps you guys out. And that's what we're here for. So feel free, like I said, you guys want to send emails and voicemails, definitely do that. And we will definitely play these on a show. I will get all the kinks worked out by next weekend. So with that, I don't know if Chris will be coming back in, but I know it's getting late and it's already 6 o'clock. So I will see you guys next week. Have a great one. And Chris is back in. Are you there, Chris? I see your ceiling.